Hi friends, Sarah, the owner and maker behind Multifarious Nature. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, big welcome back. I'm glad you guys are here for another episode. Whew. So, incredibly grateful for my mom's help last weekend. As far as shop update end of things goes, she helped me immensely with picking a fleece that has just been quite the process. It is a beautiful fleece. I have kind of shown you kind of hintings of it. Here, I'll show you. It is a beautiful fleece. It is North Country Cheviot, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It is a multicolor fleece. I think it's like a tricolor, and I'm blending it with some gorgeous rose gray alpaca, and it's super pretty, very soft. That Cheviot just, it loves the alpaca. It grabs it, which is awesome. So it really makes a nice blend, and it's really beautiful. So I'm really excited to have those coming to Michigan Fiber Festival in August. So definitely make sure that you follow along if that's something you're interested in, because following the festival, if I do happen to have any of these bats still available, they'll be in the shop on our website. So definitely make sure you follow here on YouTube, but I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Facebook and Instagram are pretty synonymous. I pretty much post the same thing on both. So if you like to prefer one platform over the other, you'll be fine. And then of course, if you want to get the newsletter, I do not bombard you. I really don't send out that many newsletters at all, but when there are big things, I will definitely announce on there. So, and if there's any coupon codes or like special pre-sale things or anything like that, I always announce it in the newsletter first for the most part. Other than that one time, there was like a quirk where the newsletter would not send. MailChimp was having issues, but otherwise I always do send it out on there first. So definitely make sure you follow along on there. Yeah, as far as that was the like shop update end of things. I've been working on that, and I'm excited because now I'm able to start. Once I finish carding, I still have a couple of the picked fleeces that are all weighed out. I just need to card them. I think I have like 4 1/4 fleeces, or like fleeces, bats. I will have probably a small bat. Either I'll keep that for myself, or I might just price it accordingly and then sell that as a small tasting if somebody wants to just try it. I think I'm going to try to have some of those type of little bats that are kind of teeny tiny and small. That way, like a 10-gram or something bat, so that somebody wants to try it, they can give it a try and see if they like it. Yeah, but so far, I think I have 8 bats of that North Country Cheviot. I did not use the entire fleece. I used most of it, but there was some parts of it that were a little on the definitely higher micron count, to the point where I was kind of like, did I want to blend it? I could have, but I decided not to. I decided against it. So I'm going to probably do something with those. I'm not quite certain what I want to do with that kind of wool yet, but it would be highly durable, being a higher micron like that. So it'd be excellent for rugs. I think it'd probably still be okay for socks. It just depends on your sensitivity. I don't mind that. My feet are very much on the not sensitive side when it comes to wool. It's funny, I have some alpaca. What are they? They're alpaca, a little bit of silk in there, but I think it's primarily alpaca blend. It is hilarious because I think I over twisted it when I spun it the first time, and then I really should have blended it with something just so that it wasn't super soft. But I have something else that I know what it is. It's Pygora. I have a Pygora pair of socks. It's Pygora goat, and I don't know if there's anything else blended in there, but it's definitely almost 100% Pygora. 75 or 80, I don't remember. But it's a really high percentage of Pygora goat, which has a bit of micron count to it. I guess I'm going to say that. So you'd feel it, and it's hilarious because when I put it on my feet, I want to say it tickles, but it doesn't really tickle. I feel like all the nerves in my feet get like, I would think it's actually incredibly good for your circulation because my feet feel warm when I wear them. Like, I'm not not tingly, but kind of like, it doesn't tickle in a uncomfortable way. It tickles as in I feel like my feet are awake. I am not doing this justice, but those of us that have made socks like this out of either pig or goat, or like maybe a higher micron count mohair from like way back in the day when it wasn't as soft, or just like a higher micron count wool. It just, you can feel it, and it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good feeling. Like I said, it gives you like the blood flow, and I feel like it's just a really excellent thing for circulation. So there you go. Maybe that's an idea. If you're trying to figure out what to do with wool that's a little more woolly, maybe try like wrapping it around your foot if it's in skein form and see what you think. I actually really enjoy that feeling, but to each their own. Choose your own adventure, right? It's actually quite beautiful here today in Michigan. We just went through a weird cold snap. Like it was 60 degrees Fahrenheit over the weekend, and then Monday it dropped down to like 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and it was snowing. And like it snowed a lot. Like we had measurable inches. Thank goodness it did not get as bad as we initially thought. There were areas, and there are areas in Michigan that got well over 2 feet of snow up north in northern Michigan. Grateful that we only got a couple inches, so that was good. Originally, I think it called for 5 inches. I think we just got maybe 3 at the most. So that was really good. And the roads kind of, for the most part, I say for the most part because there were areas, but for the most part, it kind of, because it was very windy, it really kind of kept the roads clear. So thank goodness, because, well, we're near the end of March now practically. And I don't know, I kind of want to focus on warmer spring weather now. And today is a beautiful spring day. It is sunny. It is 40, I think 44. Actually, I think it hit 50 degrees Fahrenheit. It is absolutely gorgeous out. I have my little sweatshirt on that I got from my aunt. It says "Bless You," and it has 3 really cute little sheep on there. I think it's adorable, and it keeps me cozy, and I'm going to go work with the sheepies, so it's very appropriate. So that's what I'm going to do after I'm done here. As you can see, I am feeling better. I'm not cured. My nose still has some drainage. I think I got most of the guck out last night. I've been using the neti pot pretty regularly. That helps clear your nasal cavities if you've not ever heard of it before. Definitely recommend it. You use a saline wash. Definitely use distilled water. That's very important that you use distilled water. I don't recommend using anything else. You could really cause yourself a major problem if you use like tap water, for instance. Don't do that. But yeah, so I've been doing that. So I feel a lot better. I have a lot more energy. And I've been sleeping better. We still have our puppy, so I've been getting up kind of early, and I have found that if I get up too close to when I actually wake up, it's hard for me to fall back asleep. So I know that's normally my life update. I usually talk about that at the end. So let's get back into the project, shall we? The first project I've been working on primarily is my, let's see here. This is the Jaunty shawl. If you're not familiar with the Jaunty, it is by Andrea Mowry of Joy Renee Knits. She is a wonderful designer out of Michigan. And I am just going to finish my row just so you guys can see it a little bit better. So maybe I will get back to talking about life updates. No, I could probably finish this pretty quickly. I just have a couple stitches left. So bear with me as I look down, because this is it's a half fisherman's rib, and so it's not like your typical stockinette where you don't really have to look after a while. So here we go. That's my last one. The rest are slips. Here we go. Okay. So here we are. This is the right side. I've got my really cute progress keeper here that is from Melly Knits Advent last year, I think it was. Let's see if you guys can see it. It's teeny tiny. It's a little leaf. Here. There we go. And it's beaded. So pretty. I cannot remember the designer, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But I'm pretty sure they're Canadian, because she tries to support her local people, which is awesome. So this is, like I said, half fisherman's rib. I am cruising on this. I've been working on it a lot. This is using my all hand spun. The primary color, I guess the primary color that goes throughout the whole piece is a hand spun braid from, it's called A Hint of the Holidays by Lair the Llama. I just realized how dark this looks here. Bear with me. I'm going to turn up the light. It is actually a very sunny day out, but because of obviously the direction of the sun and all that, it's not very sunny in my room. So hopefully this will help a little bit. Let's see if you guys can see this a little bit better, maybe. It's a very moody color. Don't get me wrong. Here we go. So that is A Hint of the Holidays. It's really pretty. It fades nicely if you can try to keep your colors separated. Of course, I did do a 2-ply. So I did, pretty sure it's a 2-ply. Yes, I think so. Yeah, it's a 2-ply. So there are colors mixed together. You know, when you're holding 2 different plies together, it does actually have some really cool variegation because of that. So hopefully you can see that. It really creates a neat kind of heathered look to it a little bit. So that is throughout the entire piece. And then the other colorways are my Multifarious Nature Advent that I did, this hand spun Advent last year. So this is Icelandic, Shetland, beautiful Moor at Shetland, very dark. And then we've got Tunis. Most of these are from sheep here in Michigan. And then this is a beautiful Jacob from Sweetgrass Jacobs. They're out of Michigan here. Okay, there we go. Just finished doing the Jacob, which is where I left off with you guys last time. So you can see there's my middle, where the Hint of the Holiday is, where that point is at the bottom. I did not make it centered, and that's on purpose. So initially I thought I would just do a centered portion of that, but then I decided I didn't want to do that because when I wrap it, I usually don't wrap my shawls with them being very centered anyway. And so even if it is centered, it'll look off-centered, and I like that. So that is that. I have plenty of this colorway. I think I'm gonna have way too much. Yeah, but once I get a decent, like a substantial chunk of that Hint of the Holidays knit up over here, then I will do my next colorway, which is this one. And this is Clun Forest. Clun Forest, if you're not familiar, is a rare breed. And this flock is out of Michigan. They're a couple hours away from me. And don't think she normally sells her wool yet. It sounds like she's relatively new to being a shepherdess, much like myself. And I think she was trying to decipher the quality of her wool. I will say I really enjoyed it. I think out of many of the fleeces I have worked with in the past, I highly enjoyed working with it. It cleaned up beautifully. It was a pretty darn clean fleece. It had a little bit of canarying, but nothing too crazy. And yeah, I would definitely work with Clun Forest again. I greatly enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. So that is the next colorway once I get this chunk of my Hint of the Holidays. So this is what I have left of Hint of the Holidays. It is huge. I have so much of it left. It is, I'd say, close to a lace weight spun. So that spun up so nicely. Lots of yardage. And then the last skein, I still have to apply, still have to cake up. And this is my beautiful, oh, I love this so much. Gosh, I love CVM. It is just, it is really good. It is good wool. It's basically Rommeldale. It is a mutated gene in the Rommeldale. So if you've ever worked with Rommeldale, which is usually white, CVM is the same breed. It's just a mutated gene that caused them to be different colors. Color or colors, many times colors. And this beautiful CVM, her name is Christmas, and she's gorgeous. I did a little clip, kind of a teaser, a while back in the summer when I was cleaning her fleece. And yeah, absolutely gorgeous. She has all this banding, and it's just a really beautiful fleece. So a lot of fun. I do still have more Christmas. I do still have more of her fleece because I only did a handful of advents, and she was an enormous fleece. She's, I think, a 10-pounder. Like most of the CVMs I got from this shepherdess, she had multiple fleeces that were over 10 pounds. Like almost all of them. They're huge fleeces. And I kid you not, I think I got 5 fleeces from her. They're enormous. They're enormous. Yeah. I have a problem, you guys. I have a lot of wool. But that's how you do it. You got to have it so that you can process it, and then you guys can work with it as well. So anyway, CVM. She's going to be the next one that I work with after that one. So really enjoying this. I'm doing the Jaunty Along, which is a spin along for Andrea Mowry's little, it's on our, I think she's on Ravelry with it. And it's totally free to be a part of it. And then at the end, if you do finish your Jaunty and you post your finished object, you can be entered to win fun prizes. And she always has a lot of fun prizes. Some of them are like 5 patterns of hers for free, and it's really nice. Her patterns, I love Andrea's patterns. If you're not new to my channel, you know that I love Andrea's patterns. I have countless unfinished objects that are just kind of like floating over here that need to be worked on. But I have tons of finished objects that are Andrea Mowry's designs. I absolutely love them. She's just very talented, and I appreciate the fit of her garments and things like that. And yeah, just very talented human being. So I really enjoy her. Okay. Next, I have worked on the Flutterbutt shirt. This is by Jessie Mae Designs. The Flutterbutt shirt. It's so fun and cute and very feminine. It's got ruffly little short sleeves, ruffly like cap sleeves, and then ruffle at the bottom. I will be making it longer probably than the design because it seems like it's going to be pretty cropped. It will be nice and airy and flowy. So I really hope that I'll be comfortable wearing this in August during Michigan Fiber Festival, because it's probably going to be about, I hope not, but it'll probably be in at least the 80s. That's the usual during that time of year here in Michigan. And yeah, so hopefully I'll be comfortable in it. As I mentioned in the last video, I get really hot easily. My body just does not regulate temperature well. So this is using a one-of-a-kind colorway. It is a beautiful lace weight base, but it's a fluffy lace weight. It is merino and silk. It's just beautiful. I would call this kind of like a European garden is what it looks like. And as I mentioned before, I would love to replicate this. I totally just threw a few skeins in the dye pot and went to town throwing color in there, and was very artistic about it and did not take notes. And that was a lot of fun. However, now I really wish I had taken notes because I absolutely love this color. It really should teach me that when I experiment and have fun that I write down the recipe, because this is a perfect example. So I'm not done with the ruffle yet. We are getting there. I still have probably a good inch or so to go. I have to say, working with these needles after working with smaller needles forever and a half, these are size 8, so 5mm, not that comfortable to work with. I have to say, I really enjoy working with smaller needles. It's not exactly my friend, but that's okay. We are getting through it together. I try to keep playing with how I hold them and how I knit with them so that my hands don't get angry with me. But just loving how this is knitting up. Super fun. All the fun speckles and bits of varying color. Uh-oh. Chester, don't you do it, buddy. So that is that. That is the Flutterbutt shirt by Jessie Made Designs. So now I guess we'll get into life update and things, which is perfect segue because I don't know if you heard that, but our little puppy Chester tried to come in the door. So funny story about Chester. He has learned how to open my door. Now, that would not necessarily be a bad thing, except he is a going on 5-month-old puppy, and he likes to chew on everything. He's in his land shark phase, so he chews on everything. And I have some call it vegan, no-kill, CVM fleece rug in here. No, not CVM, Shetland rug in here that I made. And yeah, he got in the other day and I watched him and was trying to be careful and let him kind of explore because our dogs like to lay on this rug. It's very, very soft and cozy for them. But he decided to start chewing at it. And then he decided he wanted to pull on it because he was going to try to pull the wool out. And that is not cool. So I was not happy about that. And like I said, land shark, so he wants to chew on everything. And even today, he came in, he laid on it, which is totally fine. I'd be fine with that. But then he decided to start chewing it again. So I had to kick him out again. But as I mentioned, the doors to my wool room are kind of unique. They're those like barn doors that slide. And so they're really fun and make a neat focal point, and I enjoy them. However, Chester also enjoys them because he's discovered that if he props himself just so, he can use his one paw and open the other door. And I watched it the other day. I was in here and I watched him do it, and I'm like, this is not good. So yes, now he knows how to do so, and that's not a good thing. But anyway, yes, life update. So as I mentioned, it's absolutely beautiful outside. So I do need to go work with the sheep. I'm trying to take note of the weather and start watching that. I did pick up some pasture seed for the pasture. I think they call it overseeding, where like every spring I will go through and spread the mixed pasture seed throughout their pasture and let them kind of push it into the soil, and it works really well. It worked well last year, and hopefully it will work well again this year, if not better, because now we've had sheep in there for about 2 years. So hopefully that will really help that soil become even better, so that way it'll grow even more like the grass and everything. So that's the hope. Hopefully it will do even better this year. That's always the goal. You're trying to bring back the land, and sheep are supposed to be really good at that. So I'm excited about that. So I need to do that, and this weekend's supposed to be really nice. So that would be something. But then we also need to vaccinate them. That's kind of got to be at front of mind. And I think this weekend, no, I take that back. Monday would be like 1 year from their vaccine. So trying to just keep note of that kind of thing. You have to watch the weather. If it rains, you don't want to be doing this kind of stuff because it's hard to handle them. They're out in the rain. And so you don't want to handle sheep if they are wet, things like that, because there's more of a chance that you can not only injure yourself, but also injure them. So it's important that they're dry. So just trying to figure all that out. I need to do their hoof trimming again. So that's something else I have to do, which I'd like to pair with their vaccine, because with many animals, but sheep are definitely no exception, you want to really try to lessen the amount of trauma is not necessarily the right word, but stress, that's the word, stress. You want to lessen the amount of stress that they're under. And so it's better to handle them. Now, our sheep are handled regularly. We only have 5 sheep. And so I handle them on the daily, like at least I will. I have a little flicker brush, a dog brush, that'll go around their face, like their chin area and stuff, just because they absolutely love it. And it's a way that I can get them to come up to me and I can check their eyelids, see how their, I think it's FMACHA is the acronym, but you're basically checking their, whether they're anemic, which is their parasite load, because if they're anemic, they're probably high parasite load. So I do that on the regular. And so that way, if I do see them looking on the anemic side, I will hopefully catch it before it's very far along. That's the goal with that. For those that have really large flocks, this can be hard for them because that's a lot of sheep to keep watch. And so usually they don't tend to check some of their sheep that up that close unless they're doing like this, like the vaccines, or if they see a sheep that's acting a little strange, a little lethargic, like something out of the ordinary, then they'll try to corner that sheep and then check them. And at that point, they might be pretty far, have a really high parasite load. It's kind of a game because sheep, in essence, have a tendency to make themselves sick unintentionally, right? They're eating grass that might have high parasite amount on it, and then they're ingesting that, and they basically could make themselves very ill, and it could be a problem. So you really have to be on top of that kind of thing. So I literally every day I do check that kind of thing. So I check their eyes. I want to say I check all of their eyes every day, but that would not be true because some of them don't always want to come up to me as much. So I just monitor them. And then obviously I'm feeding them every day. So I'm looking at them while I'm doing that. I check their body. It's hard when they have all that wool on them, but you can feel their back hip area where their spine is. And that kind of helps you get an idea for their body shape. Obviously it's not perfect science, but you do the best you can. And I'm excited when we shear them, not only because I love getting the wool off of them, but it's really helpful. Then you can actually see their body and see how they're doing. And I'm always happy when I can see that they're doing well because it looks really good. It makes me feel good because I feel like I'm doing a good job. And then I feel good for them as well because they probably feel good because they're not malnourished, things like that. So it's an interesting thing to do, to do this. A lot of learning, constantly learning. Incredibly grateful, like I said, for my mentor, who is not only is she a shepherdess, but she is a veterinarian. And it's fascinating work that she does. So I don't think there's anything else with the sheepies right now that we're doing. Like I said, just having to stay on top of all those things, their hooves. Our pasture is very soft soil, sandy kind of soil, dirt. So there's not a lot of things to help break down their hooves. And so their hooves tend to grow relatively quickly. So we tend to have to trim them possibly twice a year is kind of our usual. Just right before winter and then after winter, I try to do it because I don't want to do it well during the winter. Snow, again, wet sheep, it's dangerous. So I don't tend to do it during that time. And so I'm always hopeful that it will be nice temperatures so that way we can get our hands on them, do their hoof trimming and their vaccine at the same time. And then if I needed to treat them for parasite overload, hopefully I could do it during that time because I would check them for that kind of thing probably the day before, just so I could see. And then when it gets nice and warm, but not hot, then I want to do their shearing. So that's another thing. You also don't want to shear them if they're wet. So it's just keeping an eye on the weather because the spring is not the best time to shear them. I know many people do shear them primarily because they have to. It's just whenever your shearer can get you on their schedule, right? So there are the breeder that we bought our Shetlands from, she shears her sheep, I want to say they have their babies in February. So I want to say late January, early February, late January, they tend to get shorn. But keep in mind that they are in barns that whole time. Because if you have sheep like that and they don't have their wool and they're out on pasture, that would be dangerous for them. It gets too cold. So our sheep are on pasture all the time. They do have a hut, a 3-sided I guess not even 3-sided. It's 3 3/4 sided hut. So they're very well protected from the elements, but it's not heated. And if it's really cold outside, it's cold in that little hut, but they're quite warm because they have a good, coat on them. I want to say their fleece is probably around 4 to 5, maybe 5 inches, if not a little longer. It just depends on the sheep, but I'd say they're about 5 inches. So they have a really nice, decent fleece. It keeps them nice and warm. I always enjoy getting my hand in their wool when it's really cold out because they're so cozy warm, and I don't think they appreciate it as much as I do because they give me a look like, get your cold hands out of my wool. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I could go on and on about sheep all day. I really enjoy our sheep. They're a lot of fun. They're hard work, but it's very rewarding work. So, but I am very grateful that I have my husband to help me, because doing that all by myself would be a lot of work. And honestly, I don't know if I could do some of that by myself. I wish I could, but the other day I was able to wrangle one of our sheep because I needed to treat her for a parasite load, and she is one of the younger ones. I was able to get her, and then I was able to treat her. But when I treated her for bloat initially, but that's not what she has. I discovered that because it didn't go away. If it had been, it would have gone away. So then when I reached out to my mentor, she recommended parasite because of what was going on. So I did treat her for parasite, but that was a week after I had just treated her for the bloat, and she was not having me trying to catch her. She was very much staying away from me. She wasn't going to go where I could easily get her anymore. I'm assuming all sheep are like this, but Shetland in particular we have, so I can only compare to them. But they are very good at remembering when something goes down. If you trap them and do their hooves and their vaccine, obviously they are aware of what you just did and they remember it. And so if you have to shear them shortly after that, you'll be having an interesting time trying to get them into, we have an airlock. So we have a gate, I call it an airlock, and then another gate into the pasture. And we do that for various reasons, but primarily so that way when we are coming and going, sheep like to follow you. And so if the sheep were to follow us into the airlock, we could easily get them back where they need to be, and they're not going to just run free. There's that airspace, that gap. So it really is nice to have, and it's great when you're trying to catch them. Because if you can get them, and they do sometimes naturally want to, because it's an area that's blocked off that they don't normally have access to, they want to get to that grass. Whatever's in there is exciting to them because they don't normally have access to it. And so if you open it a certain way, they will just always go in there, and it'll be fine, and it's wonderful. However, once you then handle them in a way that they're not happy with, because we usually have to flip them on their hip and then treat them, as I said, with their vaccine and everything. Once we finish, if we have to do anything else with them shortly after, it will be an interesting experience, because one of them, usually it's a veiled lady, tends to stay back, and she always kind of makes a certain type of cry, ba noise, and you can tell she's telling them, don't go in there. And she stays way back. It's fascinating. I tell you what, it is fascinating. Sheep are very interesting creatures. I do really enjoy them, and their little personalities and everything. But there you go. All right. I probably babbled way on and on and on and on. I do need to go outside. I do need to take care of them, speaking of sheep. But I hope you guys are doing well. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you're up to. If you guys are starting to work on projects for warmer weather, now that we're getting closer in the Northern Hemisphere to warmer weather, not hot, but warmer, I'd love to hear about it, hear what projects you're up to. I always like to hear about new projects, and here I'm working on projects that have been around. The Jaunty's a newer one, but Flutterbutt Shirt has been around for a while. Yeah, so I'd love to hear what kind of projects you're working on. It's great for inspiration. And just trying to see hey, I might want to use this yarn for that and things like that. So always love being inspired by others. I hope you guys are doing well, and I look forward to chatting with you soon. Take care. Bye.